وعلى أهل بيته الطيبين الطاهرين المعصومين المظلومين الغر الميامين ولعنة الدائمة الباقية على أعدائهم أجمعين من الآن إلى يوم الدين ما بعد. فقد قال سيدنا ومولانا أبو عبد الله الصادق عليه الصلاة والسلام في زيارة أبي الفضل العباس: قتل الله أمة قتلتكم بالأيدي والألسن. صدق مولانا الإمام الصادق عليه الصلاة والسلام. صلوات على محمد وآل محمد. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. We ask Allah Almighty by raising our hands and by giving the wasila of Muhammad wa Ali Muhammad alayhi salam. Allahumma bihaqqi Fatimata wa abiha wa ba'liha wa baniha alayhi salam. Ya Allah, we all have gathered here with supplications that we have regarding this world and the hereafter. Ya Allah, we ask you, we plead you to fulfill all of those hajats. Ya Allah, the marhumeen that used to be part of these majalises, especially the names of the marhumeen that were displayed on the screen, and name of our dear speaker, Sheikh Khalil Jafar, his mother just passed away. So we ask Allah Almighty that, Ya Allah, by the blessing of Muhammad wa Ali Muhammad, give all the marhumeen the greatest success and the greatest status on the Day of Judgment, inshallah. We ask you further, Ya Allah, they might have committed sins and there might be so many shortcomings, but Allah, forgive all of their sins and shortcomings, Ya Allah. And Ya Allah, we are eagerly awaiting for the reappearance of Imam Sahib al-Zaman. And of course, when you look around you and you follow the news, and there is no hope but the reappearance of Imam Sahib al-Zaman. Ya Allah, we ask you, we plead you, Ya Allah, to hasten the zuhur of Imam Sahib al-Zaman. And Ya Allah, when he reappears, give us this opportunity, inshallah. All the believers that are sitting here, all the believers that are watching, believers across the globe, Ya Allah, give them the opportunity that they become the companions and they become the supporters of Imam Sahib al-Zaman. And Ya Allah, one of the most fundamental and important dua that concerns our hereafter and our akhirah, Ya Allah, when we leave this world, allow us to leave this world in the state of iman and faith, inshallah. Salawat ala Muhammad wa Ali Muhammad. Allahumma salli ala Muhammad wa Ali Muhammad. Our ta'ziyah for all the marhumeen and their families, of course. Ta'ziyah for them, and especially Brother Khalil Jafar. So much we have learned from him. And of course, if the mother who has cherished and who has basically looked after such a beautiful family. I still remember Jafar uncle too, when he used to come here. You can't expect but only ask Allah Almighty to, inshallah, shower His blessing upon this blessed family and also the marhumeen of this family, and inshallah every marhum that was mentioned there. May Allah bless their family, give them the sabr and patience, inshallah. Coming to the very important topic, you all might be following the news. I'm not here for the politic and analysis. I'm not here for the situation and analysis that's going around. Alhamdulillah, you would know better than me about the situation that is unfolding. But when you come across, there's a very fundamental and important topic that I wanted to discuss today. And it's a topic that is for Thursday night. It's a very important topic, very connected to the events that we're going through, but not politically, more religiously. Not politically, more theologically. Not politically, more historically. Right? And the topic concerns the way Al-Muhammad alayhi salam were persecuted by the speech. We all have come across so many tyrants that came in the history, whether it was Fir'aun, the way he persecuted the children of Israelites. When we come across the example of Namrud, we come across the example of different tyrants that came during the course of the time. Likewise, the tyrants that came after the demise of the Prophet, and then you start looking what happened with Imam Hassan, what happened with Amir al-Mu'mineen, what happened with Lady Fatima, salamullah alayha, and then you go one after another, till the time come in that not only the Imams of Al-Muhammad alayhi salam were persecuted, their family were persecuted too. And that's why when you come across the example of Abu Ja'far al-Mansur, you would come across so many of the Sadat, so many from the progeny of Sayyidah Fatima al-Zahra and Amir al-Mu'mineen. They were being massacred, they were being killed in such a huge number that the majority of the offspring of Al-Muhammad alayhi salam were basically killed. and massacred, right? Sometimes 1,200 people, 1,800 people, so many of them were killed. And then you come across the companions. This was the family that were killed. And family, of course, when I mention family, there is a very beautiful book that was written by not by a Shia scholar, but someone who was a non-Shia, a non-traveler. His name is Abul Faraj al-Asfahani, right? Search it, Abul Faraj al-Asfahani. He wrote a whole book which is called Maqatil al-Talimeen, a very beautiful book. The title of the book itself is depicting that people from the progeny of Abu Talib alayhi salatu wasalam, that were being massacred, that were being killed. The story of them were mentioned, each and every, like it starts from Amir al-Mu'mineen, then it goes all the way to Imam Hassan, Imam Hussein, then it goes to Zayd al-Shaheed, then it goes to other people that were being killed, the incident of Fakh that happened during the time of Imam Qasim. And likewise, so many incidents that happened, so many people from the progeny of Al-Muhammad were slaughtered. That's one way of looking at it. And then you come across the companions that were killed. So it's not only the family, the companions. Take the example of Hujr ibn Adi. Who killed Hujr ibn Adi? Muawiyah ibn Abi Sufyan. Take the example of Amr bin Hamaq al-Khuza'i. Take the example of Abdul Rahman bin Udais al-Balawi. All of these companions. Take the example of Muhammad bin Abi Bakr. Take the example of Malik al-Ashtar. All of these were being killed by whom? By Muawiyah bin Abi Sufyan. You go to little early examples, you see the way Malik bin Numayra was being killed. Malik bin Numayra was killed by whom? By Khalid bin Walid. And likewise, you go further and further till the time of Hajjaj comes in. And Hajjaj, mashallah, who knows how big of that bala was? Hajjaj ibn Yusuf. How many he killed? Sa'id ibn Jubair, Yahya bin Thawi, all of these beautiful companions, all of these very important and authentic and trustworthy companions of different imams were being massacred just because they loved and adored Al-Muhammad alayhi salam. Isn't it? Then the example of Khalid al-Qasri came in. Then the example of Abu Ja'far al-Mansur, Mutawakkil, and all these tyrants that were in the history. They killed so many companions, they killed so many people from the family of Al-Muhammad, and ultimately it resulted in the killing of the blessed progeny too, of the imams of Al-Muhammad too. Those were being killed by using swords, they were being killed by using hands, right? But we get another theme in the ziyarat. You go through the different ziyarah, you go to the ziyarah of Imam Radhan that I'm going to quote. You go to the ziyarah of Abu Fadl al-Abbas that I'm going to quote. And nearly these things that you would get in different other riwayats too. You would get this theme in different other ziyarats too. Now why I'm quoting from the ziyarah? Because ziyarahs are very important. Unfortunately, this is one of the most mahjur, as you could say, the most neglected of our hadith literature. You would come across, we were quoting from Bihar, we were quoting from Al-Kafi, we were quoting from so many other books. But when it comes to the ziyarah, when Imam is actually referring to the actual martyr, when Imam is actually having the conversation with Allah Almighty, how blessed and how deep it would be, and how many things that you can extract from those ziyarah. There are countless things that you can extract just only from the ziyarah. That's why even the scholars would mention, if you want to give a Jami' Salam, if you want to give Salam and salutations in its completeness, if you want to do so, recite Ziyaratul Jami'ah. If you want to do so, recite Ziyarat Aminullah. If you want to do so, recite further Ziyarat, this, the Ziyarah, XYZ Ziyarah, right? There's so many Ziyarats, right? But when you go through the Ziyarah, you actually get so many meanings and so many deductions out of it. And one of the important ziyarah that I want to revisit, and I want to go and reflect upon this topic because so many videos are coming in. They're the mal'oon, the mala'een, wallahi ladhim. You try to understand the intensity of the situation that just happened 2 weeks back. Right? 2 to 3 weeks, within 2 to 3 weeks, everything has changed completely. And you would see that the mal'oon, the wretched people, the wicked people, they're entering into the shrine of Sayyidah Zainab carrying their weapons. And trying to make the Shias in fear, try to have the fear instill and the horror instill in their hearts. So there are only sizable, very, very sizable, or not sizable I would say, very limited number of Shias that are left in Damascus. And they are trying to be in the outskirts of Sayyidah Zainab. Now imagine if someone is going inside the haram of Sayyidah Zainab, holding the guns and shouting the slogans and mentioning the names of the enemies of Al-Muhammad. Do you expect any Shia? Wallahi ladhim, I have not seen any Shia going into any other temple, any other mosque, any other musalla, any other mandir, gurdwara or anything, and just shouting the slogans that they have. We go, like I'm coming from a background that we would visit the mosques that do not belong to the Shia mosques. All of these mosques, they belong to Allah Almighty. They're not Shia and Sunni mosques. But of course, there is a certain group that is managing the mosque. Let's suppose if it's a Sunni group, let's suppose if it's an Ahlul Hadith group. Whenever we would go, we would never chant slogans. We will just go and pray and we'll come back. Because we are respectful to the people there, right? And even if we would have the authority, on the day of Ashura, when the Shias are controlling the majority of the country, you wouldn't see they're invading the countries, they're invading the masajid, they're invading the places of worship, and chanting the slogans there. And not only chanting the slogans, but taking the names of the enemies of Al-Muhammad alayhi salam. And that's why you see a wretched person who came right from Al-Qaeda. He came right at the front of Sayyidah Sukaina, Sayyidah Ruqayya. He came in and he was saying that we, the followers of Bani Umayyah, are back. We, the followers of Muawiyah bin Abi Sufyan, are back. And you're calling the Shias, calling them Rafidis, calling them this and this. What do you want to prove? Since you have the power, you can say anything you want from your mouth. So that proves that this is not something new. Wallahi ladhim, this is not something new that you would have just witnessed. This is something that's coming in from the times of the Imams of Al-Muhammad. And this connects us to this important topic. Please try to focus here. And I'm going to quote some of the examples too. Imam Sadiq alayhi salatu wasalam is reported, salawat ala Muhammad wa alayhi. When you go to the Ziyarat of Abu al-Fadl al-Abbas, little bit towards the side, not from the front gate, but a little bit towards the right gate. When you go for the Ziyarat, this Ziyarat of Imam Sadiq is written there. And the Ziyarat is very beautiful. सरकार वफ़ा की बात भी अलग है, लेकिन जब मौला के मुंह से जब बात आ रही हो तो वो और खूबसूरत हो जाती है. सलामुल्लाहि व सलामु मलाइकतिल मुक़र्रबीन. The greetings and the blessings of Allah be upon you, O Abu al-Fadl Abbas. Not only the greetings of Allah Almighty, the blessings, but also the blessings and the greetings of the angels that are very close to Allah Almighty be upon you. And the greetings of the prophets and of the messengers be upon you, O Abu al-Fadl Abbas. وَأَنْبِيَائِهِ الْمُرْسَلِينَ وَعِبَادِهِ الصَّالِحِينَ. Now I'm going to quote the actual part, but let me quote because that has to do with my emotions. وَعِبَادِهِ الصَّالِحِينَ. When you are reciting the salam, the last salam that you're reciting upon is upon the righteous believer. Like the salam before the second last. Assalamu alayka ayyuhan nabi wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Assalamu alayna wa ala ibadillahi. Right? You say this. So the righteous, all the righteous servants that we are sending the salam, but if they are sending their salam and salutation upon someone, it is Abu al-Fadl Abbas alayhi salatu wasalam. وَجَمِيعِ الشُّهُدَاءِ وَالصِّدِّيقِينَ. And all the martyrs that have come, and all the truthful that have come, all of their salams and greetings and salutations be upon you, O Abu al-Fadl Abbas. الزَّاكِيَاتُ الطَّيَّبَاتِ فِيمَ تَغْدِي وَتَرُوحِ عَلَيْكَ يَبْنَ أَمِيرَ الْمُؤْمِنِينَ. And not only normal salams and greeting, but the greetings that are completely transparent, very pure. The greeting that comes and goes further. It's not only one time that I'm giving this greeting. It's the greeting that I wish from Allah Almighty. When I say salam one time, it goes back and forth on your blessed soul, O the son of the commander of the faithful, Ya Yabna Amir al-Mu'mineen. So this is the start of the ziyarah. Now this is the important part that I want all of you to focus. فَمَعَكُمْ لَا مَعَ عَدُوِّكُمْ. Indeed, I'm with you, O the son of Amir al-Mu'mineen, and I am not with your enemies. Here's the point that I want all of you to focus, is that when you are trying to proclaim your wila for someone, when you are trying to proclaim your love for Al-Muhammad alayhi salam, your love is not completed unless or until you disassociate yourself from the enemies of Al-Muhammad. La ma'aduwikum inni bikum wa bi'iyabikum min al-mu'kinin wa biman khalafakum wa qatalakum min al-kafiri. O Abu al-Fadl, I have this firm belief in you and also of your reappearance. So now you are not only using the sigha, Inni bika. Bika means that you're only referring to Abu Fadl. You're referring to all the martyrs of the Karbala. All the shuhada of the Karbala. And the chief of them is Sayyid al-Shuhada, Abu Abdullah al-Husayn alayhi salatu wassalam. That I have this firm faith regarding all of you, and I also believe that you're going to return back. And this returning back is called what? The Rij'ah, right? We can talk about the topic of Rij'ah inshallah another day. And the people that oppose you, and the people that came against you, and the people that were responsible for persecuting you, I am in denying of all those people that came against you. After you have developed all the scenario, then you say these words. قَتَلَ اللَّهُ أُمَّةً قَتَلَتْكُمْ بِالْأَيْدِي وَالْأَلْسُنِ. First you proclaim your love for Abu Fadl. أشهد لك بالتسليم والتصديق والوفاء والنصيحة لخلف النبي المرسل وأبو الفضل عباس. I am the one that testified that you were completely dutiful and obedient to the Imam of your time. I testify that you were someone that was extremely loyal and sincere to the Imam of the time. You were someone that also testified the message of the righteousness and the truth. And you were someone that admonished people, that called people for the sake of Allah and for the sake of the Imam. All of these things you say, at the end you say these words. قَتَلُ اللَّهُ أُمَّةً قَتَلَتْكُمْ بِالْأَيْدِي وَالْأَلْسُنِ. May Allah destroy those people. May Allah decimate that nation. May Allah slaughter and kill those people that were responsible for killing you through their speech and through their hands. So the people did not just only slaughter Al-Muhammad, persecuted Al-Muhammad by using the hands, by using the weapons, by using the swords. They were one group of the people, but more notorious group of the people were the one that were responsible for persecuting Al-Muhammad alayhi salam because of their speech and tongue. That's one example of Ziyarat Abu Fadl Abbas. Let's go to the second example. The second example is the Ziyarah of Imam Rada alayhi salatu wassalam. When you go and recite Allahumma salli ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad. I want to go very quickly and inshallah try to wrap up the topic within the given time. Sallallahu alayka ya Abul Hasan. Now Abul Hasan is the kunya of Imam Rada alayhi salatu wassalam. Who were the Abul Hasans within the Imams of Al-Muhammad? Amir al-Mu'mineen, Abul Hasan. Imam Kadhim, Abul Hasan. Imam Rada, Abul Hasan. And Imam Hadi, Abul Hasan. Right? So when you go through the Shia literature, a lot of times you would come across Qala Abul Hasan. Now how would you try to distinguish which Abul Hasan is mentioned? You would see who is the narrator, who is narrating the riwayah from this Abul Hasan. Is he from the companion of the 7th Imam? Or is he the companion of the 8th Imam? Or is he the companion of the 10th Imam? And then you're able to distinguish who is the Imam that's been mentioned here. Right? So that's why you need ilm al-rijal. That's why you need these marajih. That's why you need these scholars to make it easy for you so that you can understand, right? But that's again a separate topic. Sallallahu alayka ya Abul Hasan. Peace and blessings be upon you of Allah Almighty. O Imam Rada alayhi salatu wassalam. Sallallahu alayka wa ala ruhika wa badanik. Ab dekhe Ali Muhammad se kya mohabbat hai aapki. Salam be upon you, Imam. Salam be over your soul, my Imam. And salam be upon your body, my Imam. So soul, body and the whole personality. Sabarta ala al-adha wa anta sadiqul masduq. You were the one that had to go through so many difficulties, so many hardships. After going so many hardships and difficulties and adversities, you were extremely patient and you were someone that manifested nothing but forbearance and sabr. قَتَلَ اللَّهُ مَنْ قَتَلَكَ بِالْأَيْدِ وَالْأَلْسُنِ. Again the same word. May Allah destroy that group that was responsible for killing you by their hands and by their speech and tongue. So do you understand how important this topic is? Because people are actually till this day are using their tongue, are using their speech to discredit the message of Muhammad wa al-Muhammad alayhi salam, isn't it? Let me quote you one example from the history and then the examples from the book. Maybe if we have time, we can quote more, but I don't think so. We'll have enough time. Let's quote the example from Karbala. There was a person that came in, and see how notorious and how wretched these people were. They came to Abu Abdullah. I don't know if I have this himmah to translate. That's why I try to select the easier riwayah, easier version. Because there are different versions of different riwayah, different people that came in and said things against Abu Abdullah. Now see this person that came in saying, Ya Hussein, ألا تنظروا هذا الماء كأنه كبد السماء. Or Hussein, don't you see the water from the Euphrates, the Euphrat? Don't you see the water from the water stream of Al-Kama? Don't you see the water that resembles the center of the sky? You know the center of the sky? It is very manifested. It is very visible. But unfortunately, you cannot touch and access that. Majority of the time. Now you might have good technology, but majority of the people, they can't access it. The way we can't access the skies, this person is saying that you would not be able to access the water. Wallahi la tadhuku minhu qatratan hatta tamuta atshana. सईद शुहदा को बड़ी रूहानी अजियत दी है. सुनिएगा आप जरा दिल खोल के और दिल को हिम्मत दीजिएगा. क्या कहता है? This mal'oon says, this wretched person says that, O Hussein, you would not be able to drink one drop of the water, one sip of the water, until you will die in the state of thirst. Now, the problem was not that they came against Abu Abdullah. The problem was that they questioned the infallibility and the leadership of Abu Abdullah. If there is a personal problem between the people, Al-Muhammad alayhi salam will forgive you. But when it comes against the imama and the isma and the infallibility of the imam, then the imams would defend their imama and their isma. And that's why the Imam alayhi salatu wasalam raised his head and raised his hands and he says, Allahumma uqtulhu adshana. खुदावंद मुताल ये मेरे लिए जुमले कह रहा है. Oh Allah, give him the taste of the death in a state that he is extremely thirsty. Hamid ibn Muslim, आपने नाम बहुत सुना होगा मक्तल में. Hamid ibn Muslim says, I saw that person. He kept on drinking water again and again, but whenever he would drink the water, he would vomit, he would throw it out, and he would scream, Al-Atal, Al-Atash qatalatni, that the thirst has killed me, the thirst has killed me, until he passed away and expired by the blessings of the dua of Imam Hussein alayhi salatu wassalam. Was a miracle, but yes, miracle is one part, but the most important thing that I want you all to focus was that the words, these negative words, negative is a small word. These words, how dare they could say to Abu Abdullah like this? But yes, they kill Abu Abdullah not only through the swords, through the spears, through the things that they had, but they kill Abu Abdullah through the speech that they were using against Abu Abdullah every time. One example. Let me quote the other example too, because it's important to quote the history the way it is. This time, again, the riwayah is from Abdullah bin Hawza. This is a person that came in to have a conversation with Abu Abdullah. Now, Abu Abdullah at that moment was trying to get some sort of ceasefire, not this complete ceasefire, but a very short period of ceasefire for a time that Abu Abdullah can pray, the time of Dhuhr. Abu Abdullah wanted that at that moment, that the war that was taking place, at least for those 15-20 minutes, at least for those 10-15 minutes, it can come to a stop so that they could pray and then it could resume from there. So when Abu Abdullah was requesting them, and I'm saying the word requesting because Abu Abdullah wanted to complete his hujjah upon them. When Abu Abdullah wanted to pray, that person, this wretched person came in. He says, Ya Hussein, ibshir bin nar. Astaghfirullah. Or Hussein, I give you the glad tidings that you're going to go this and this destination. I don't want to translate it. Sayyid al-Shuhda replied, Kadhibta, you are lying and you're not stating the facts. Bal inni uqdimu ala rabbi rahim wa shafi'un muta. I'm going to meet my Lord who is extremely merciful and generous. And I'm going to meet the messenger of Allah Almighty, the intercessor. And when Abu Abdullah said this, Abu Abdullah again raised his hand. अच्छा ये मौज़ात हैं लेकिन मैं मौज़ों के लिए नहीं सुना रहा आपको. I want all of you to focus that How were these people? Now, this is not the first time that they have started what they're doing in Syria. This is not the first time that they started what they were doing in Iraq a few years back. I still remember 10 years back when Daesh was attacking the east of Iraq, right? And they came very close to Karbala. They came very close to Baghdad. And every time they would speak the stupid stuff from their mouth. Why? In order, because they were not doing it for the first time. They are the followers of the people, the followers of Banu Umayyah, that were doing same with Muhammad wa Ali Muhammad. So when you come across those videos, don't be fascinated and don't be surprised. Their forefathers used to do so, they are doing the same thing too. We would follow the example of Abu Abdullah. Abu Abdullah raised his hand and said, Allahumma huzhu ila nar, O Allah, make his destination, the final destination, as hellfire. The riwayah says that he was sitting on a horse and the horse went into a dungeon. As soon as it went into dungeon and it slipped, the person who was sitting on the top, he slipped away in a position that his head got right at the bottom and his legs were on the top. And then the riwayah says that the horse started going on to the plains of Karbala. It will pass by the trees. It will pass by the stones. It will pass by the pebbles. It will pass by different other areas of Karbala. And the riwayah says, فَيُضْرَبُ رَأْسَهُ بِكُلِّ حَجَرٍ وَمَدَرٍ. Jahan se ja raha tha, from wherever the horse was going in, his head was stuck, his head was beaten from all the things that were coming in, hatta ajjalallahu ruhahu ila nar, until Allah expedited and quickened his destination and his journey to the hellfire. What took place is the dua of Abu Abdullah. The barakah of the dua of Abu Abdullah was immediate. But that's not our point right now for the discussion. The point is that these were the people that were responsible for saying whatever notorious stuff that you came across. Yet two examples were the historical example. Two examples were used from the Ziyarat. Let's take the two examples from the books of the opponents of Al-Muhammad alayhi salam. They have hatred and they have the animosity against the dhikr of Al-Muhammad, against the adadari, against the remembrance. They have the problem in mentioning the fada'il of Amir al-Mu'mineen. They have the problem mentioning the fada'il of Al-Muhammad. That's understandable. But they even have the problem when you discuss the tragedy of Al-Muhammad alayhi salam too. And that's why Ibn Hajar al-Makki, please try to write the reference if you would, or just go through my speech one more time. Ibn Hajar al-Makki has written a whole book that's called As-Sawa'iq al-Muharrika. That's a book that he wrote against the Shias of Al-Muhammad alayhi salam. Within it, he quotes the fatwa of Abu Hamid al-Ghazali. We all know Ghazali is. Ghazali is the Shaykh al-Islam, is the theologian, right, is a philosopher. The people that they respect a lot. Now see what Ghazali has said regarding the remembrance and the mentioning of the martyrdom of Abu Abdullah. He says, يُحْرَمُ عَلَى الْوَاعِظِ وَغَيْرِهِ رِوَايَةُ مَقْتَلِ الْحُسَيْنِ وَحِكَايَتُهُ. It is impermissible, it is disallowed for a speaker, for a preacher, for anyone to mention the history of Abu Abdullah, or whatever happened in Karbala. وَمَا يَجْرِي بَيْنَ الصَّحَابَةِ مِنَ التَّشَاجُرِ وَالتَّخَاصُمِ. And it is also impermissible for the scholars, for the speakers, for the people that are preaching, to mention anything about the disagreements, about the discourse that took place between different companions of the prophets. You're not allowed to mention the battle of Badr. You're not allowed to mention the battle of Siffin. You're not allowed to mention about what? About the battle of Naharawan. You're not allowed to mention anything what happened in Saqifa, what happened in the event of pen and paper, what happened when Prophet instructed the companions to go with the army of Osama. None of it is allowed for you to mention. Why? فَإِنَّهُ يَهِيجُ بُغْضُ الصَّحَابَةِ وَالطَّعْنُ فِيهِمْ وَهُمْ أَعْلَامُ الدِّينِ. Because if you would mention the Karbala, if you would mention the tragedies of Abu Abdullah, if you would mention what happened with the family of Abu Abdullah, with the companions of Abu Abdullah, if you would mention everything, it would lead to the hostility and the animosity against the companions of the Prophet. And the companions of the Prophet are the pillar and the flag and the banner of Islam. That's why when you come across these fatwa, MashaAllah, you're living in Canada. A lot of you have come from Africa. But we have lived those areas where they would explicitly say, anyone who would visit the procession of Abu Abdullah on the day of Ashura, he should come to the Maulana again and have his nikah rectified again. Because they would see the alam of Abul Fadl Abbas. अब आपको समझ आया? जिनके निकाह भी इतनी जल्दी टूट जाएं, तलाक़ें भी इतनी आसानी से हो जाएं, उनके मामलात कितने ख़तरनाक होते हैं. That happens. But I'm telling you, that's not something that's coming out of the blue. This is something, now Abu Ghazali is a top-notch figure within the school of Ash'ari. You have three major schools in Sunnism, right? Ash'ari, Maturidi, and the third are Ahlul Hadith, right? These Salafis. Now Salafis, they revere whom? They revere Ibn Taymiyyah. Now Ibn Taymiyyah was if any one of you have gone through his Majmu' al-Fatawa or his Sarim al-Maslul, I'm just naming some of the books. If you have gone through the book Minhaj al-Sunnah, it's not Minhaj al-Sunnah al-Nabawiyya, it's Minhaj al-Sunnah al-Umayyah. Everything that came in the merit of Amir al-Mu'mineen, everything he weakened. Hadith al-Thaqlain, non-authentic. Hadith al-Ghadir, fabricated. Hadith al-Tayr, fabricated. All of the hadith in the merit of Al-Muhammad and Amir al-Mu'mineen, everything is weak and inauthentic. मैं बताना चाह रहा हूँ कि ज़बान से कैसी तकलीफ दी है. Let me quote you an example. He said when the first caliph, when he attacked the house of Zahra alayhi salatu wassalam, he attacked because he assaulted the house because he wanted to see कि कहीं जनाब ज़हरा ने मुसलमानों के माल को तो अपने घर में नहीं रखा हुआ. Every reference that I'm giving, I'm responsible for this. If I would not have come across these examples from my own eyes, Wallahi ladhim, I would never quote all these examples on this pulpit and the mimbar. My field is research. I have to go through all these material and whatnot. And I'm telling you, I have seen it. The scans and the actual books are there, PDFs and everything. You can come and see this. Second example of Ibn Taymiyyah. The third example is of Ibn Hazm. Ibn Hazm has written a whole book which is called Al-Muhalla. Abu Muhammad Ibn Hazm. He was from Spain. He was called as Andalusi. He has a whole book called Al-Muhalla. Now why I'm mentioning this? Because this Al-Muhalla is such an important book that all the people that want to be mujtahid, for us, we want to go through Wasail al-Shi'a. For us, we want to go through Al-Kafi, Malay Hazar al-Faqih, Tahdhib and all of it. When they want to become mujtahid, they have to go through his work. A very beautiful work in a way that whatever is there within their fiqh. Likewise, if you want to be a scholar, somebody wants to be a scholar, they want to go through Jawahirul Kalam. It's a beautiful book in fiqh, 45 volumes. They want to go through the book Al-Hada'iq al-Nadhira by Allama Bahrani. And likewise, they want to go through some other books of the fiqh that are istidlali fiqh. Likewise, there's a book Al-Muhalla. Now, volume 10, jil number 10, I think page number 464. Different version, but the version that I'm quoting was printed in Egypt. It says, ab aap dekhen, before I say so, Rasulullah has explicitly mentioned about the killer of Amir al-Mu'mineen. He said, "O Ali, there were two most wretched people in the earth. One that came from the predecessor and one that came from the later people. Ashqun nas min al-awwaleen wa ashqan nas min al-akhirin. There are two kinds of most wicked people. सबसे शकी तरीन बदबख्त तरीन पहले वालों में कौन था? The one that came in and slaughtered the camel of Saleh alayhi salatu wassalam. He was the most wretched of them from the people of the past generation. And the most wretched of them from the people from the later generation is the one that's going to strike on your head, O Ali ibn Abi Talib. Most wretched is whom? Abdul Rahman ibn Muljim. Maybe Yazid is not that wretched. Maybe Abu Ja'far Mansur might not be so wretched. Mutawakkil might not be so wretched as Abdul Rahman ibn Muljim was. Right? This is the hadith of the Prophet. Now you go through what Ibn Hazm has written. I want to quote some examples, and this is the last example. the way they have slaughtered, the way they have persecuted Al-Muhammad alayhi salam, using the speech, using the pen, using the paper, using the books. Third example is from Ibn Hazm. He says, وَلَا خِلَافَ بَيْنَ هَذِهِ الْأُمَّةِ. There is no difference between any person in this ummah. I don't know which ummah he was referring to. There is no difference. They all are unanimous. They all have this agreement. Who? Everyone in this ummah. بأن عبد الرحمن ابن ملجم لم يقتل عليا إلا كان متأولا مجتهدا مقدرا على أنه على الصواب. That, let me translate it. Ibn Muljim, there is no difference among the scholars, there is no difference in this ummah that Abdul Rahman ibn Muljim did not assassinate Ali ibn Abi Talib, but he was interpreting the text, he was a mujtahid, and he was someone that he believed that he was doing something extremely righteous. अब आपको इनके इज्तिहाद का मेयार समझ आया? Anyone that killed Hujr ibn Adi was a mujtahid. People that kill Ammar ibn Yasir was a mujtahid. People that kill Ali ibn Abi Talib were mujtahid. People that kill Sayyid al-Shuhada, Yazid Umir al-Mu'mineen. What is left then? You claim that you have the love of Al-Muhammad alayhi salam. Why don't you mention the history of Abu Abdullah? Why don't you mention Ghadir? Why don't you mention the merits of Amir al-Mu'mineen? Why don't you mention the merits of Fatima al-Zahra? Why don't you mention the merits of Imams of Al-Muhammad alayhi salam? And why do you, when you get the power, you try to associate yourself from Banu Umayyah with Banu Umayyah? Banu Umayyah, with consensus of Shias and Sunnis, are called Shajaratul Mal'una. The most wretched tree that was mentioned in Quran refers to none other than these Banu Umayyahs. There is no difference between now history is history. History is not Sunni, history is not Shia. History is history. Every history has mentioned what Banu Umayyah have done against the people, against the righteous people of this ummah. At the end of the day, they dare to say that we are the son of Muawiyah bin Abi Sufyan. They dare to say that Umayyah bin Umayyah are back. They're running towards the Jami' al-Umawi in Damascus as if they have achieved such a huge thing. Think about it. What kind of association they have? If they are doing it, I thank Allah Almighty. I'm very grateful that Allah is uncovering their faces and exposing who they are. If there was any parda left, that parda is gone away completely. Not talking about politics. Who was the ruler, ex-ruler, who were the supporters, whatnot. That's not my topic. These are the topics of the political commentators that should come and speak about it. People are more knowledgeable. I'm just going through the theological reasons for the stuff that I'm coming across. Why do this do so the stuff, whatever they're doing? For what reasons? And were there examples within the books before that any of them have done the same thing? So yes, we have this example. From Ghazali, from Ibn Hazm, from Ibn Taymiyyah. I also had some other examples too, from Ibn Hajar, from other scholars too. But inshallah, that's a topic for another day. We can talk about. But when we are thinking about the tragedy that unfolded in Sham, we remind ourselves that that was not the first tragedy that was unfolded. There were a lot of tragedies that the followers of Al-Muhammad, the family of Al-Muhammad, had to go through in the land of Sham. बहुत मुश्किलात से गुजरना पड़ा था ज़दारों. आप जानते हैं, कभी आप में से जो शाम गए हों, बाज़ार के दरवाजे से यजीद के दरबार तक अज़दारों 5 से 10 मिनट भी नहीं लगते. आप जानते हैं आले मोहम्मद को 3 दिन क़याम करवाया गया है अंदर. क्यों? क्योंकि बाज़ार को सजाया जा रहा था. क्यों? ताकि आले मोहम्मद की तज़हीक की जा सके. एक अजीब मुसीबत का जुमला मिलता है अज़दारों. रवायत के जुमले हैं, जनाब उम्मे कुलसूम एक दफ़ा एक शक़ी को कहती हैं कि ए शक़ी, यानी मिलने आते हैं जनाब उम्मे कुलसूम और आले मोहम्मद के चाहने वालों से. हज़रत सुहैल बिन हुनैफ سہل بن حنیف آتے ہیں، رسول کے صحابی ہیں، جب اس منظر کو دیکھتے ہیں تو گھبرا جاتے ہیں کہ سید الشہداء کا سر آ رہا ہے، پیچھے پیچھے سرکار وفا کا سر ہے، حضرت علی اکبر کا سر ہے۔ جب سر گزرتے ہیں تو پیچھے سے ایک اور لٹا ہوا قافلہ بھی آ رہا ہے۔ جب لٹے ہوئے قافلے کے پاس آتے ہیں تو کہتے ہیں کہ مولا میں کچھ کر نہیں سکتا، لیکن جو حکم دیں گے اس کو کرنے کے لیے تیار ہوں۔ تو اس وقت بیویاں بھی یہی فرماتی ہیں، مولا بھی یہ کہتے ہیں سہیل اگر تیرے پاس پیسے ہوں، تیرے پاس مال ہو، تو ان ملعونوں کو جا کے بس اتنا کہہ دے کہ یہ سر جو یہ ساتھ ساتھ لے کے گھوم رہے ہیں، یہ سر بیویوں کے پاس سے ہٹا دیں، تاکہ جو جب سروں کو دیکھتا ہے تو جو بیویاں بے مخنع و چادر ہوتی ہیں، اور یہ لوگ تمام کے تمام ان سیدانیوں کو بھی دیکھ رہے ہوتے ہیں، اور ہمیں یہ برداشت نہیں کہ کوئی بھی آل محمد کو اس حالت میں اس طرح اس مظلومیت کے ساتھ دیکھے۔ عزاداروں سہل آتے ہیں اور آ کر کوشش کرتے ہیں کہ سروں کو ذرا آگے لے جایا جائے، تاکہ لوگ جب دیکھنا چاہیں تو سروں کو دیکھیں، ان بیویوں کو نہ دیکھیں۔ عزاداروں تھوڑی دیر تک تو یہ مرحلہ ہوتا ہے، لیکن دوبارہ اس کے بعد دوبارہ سروں کو پیوست کر دیا جاتا ہے، ملا دیا جاتا ہے بیویوں کے ساتھ۔ عزاداروں 7 دروازے ہوتے ہیں، لیکن زینب اس وقت عباس بھی ہے، زینب اس وقت علی اکبر بھی ہے، زینب اس وقت اس لشکر کی علمبردار بھی ہے۔ عزاداروں جب 7 دروازوں سے گزرا جا رہا ہوتا ہے، زینب سب کو ہمت دلا رہی ہوتی ہیں، اے بیویوں پریشان نہ ہو، زینب موجود ہے۔ عزاداروں ایک ایک دروازے سے جاتے رہتے ہیں۔ اب جو 7واں دروازہ کھلتا ہے اور دربار میں پیشی ہونا ہوتی ہے، 700 شراب خور موجود ہوتے ہیں، یزید بیٹھا ہوا ہوتا ہے، اور یزید کے آگے سر حسین بھی موجود ہوتا ہے، وہی سر حسین جس کے اوپر چھڑی سے کبھی دانتوں کو مارتا ہے عبداللہ کے، کبھی آنکھوں کو مارتا ہے۔ اب جو زینب اس منظر کو دیکھتی ہے، ایک ہی جملہ کہتی ہے، اے سید سجاد، اب زینب میں بھی صبر کی طاقت۔ سَيَعْلَمُ الَّذِينَ ظَلَمُوا أَيَّ مُنْقَلِبٍ يَنْقَلِبُونَ۔ خداوند متعال آنسوؤں کا پرسہ دیا ہے، یا اللہ we ask you by your mercy, we ask you by the blessing of Muhammad wa Ali Muhammad, protect the shrines of Sayyidah Zainab and Sayyidah Ruqayya in Syria. Ya Allah, protect Iraq, protect Lebanon, protect Pakistan, all the Shias of Amir al-Mu'mineen. Wherever they're going through persecution, Ya Allah, protect them and shield them from all the horrors and the fear. Ya Allah, we ask you further that this is Thursday night, the night of our marhameen, the night of the believers, the night of the du'as. We ask you, Ya Allah, that forgive all of our marhameen. And Ya Allah, when we leave this world, allow us to leave the world with the state and then the state of the wilaya of Al Muhammad alayhi salam. Salawat ala Muhammad wa Al Muhammad.